The following program may contain coarse language, violence, nudity, mature subject matter, or scenes which may not be suitable for all viewers. Viewer discretion is advised.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X-Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
Welcome back, everyone. My name is Rob McConnell. This is the X-Zone. We're coming to you from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. And if you'd like to give us a call, 1-800-610-7035. Email is xzone@xzoneradiotv.com. On all social media sites, X-Zone Radio TV, and our website, www.xzoneradiotv.com. My guest this hour is J. Mark Campbell. He's the Communications Director at the United West. Now, in the past, Mark was a certified novel broadband and Cisco network engineer who was a teacher, designer, and implementer of global area networks for AT&T, Sprint, and other telecom carriers throughout the U.S. and abroad. Now, Mark was one of the select few to actually lead Cisco network engineers in implementing and testing the then new voice over IP protocol in Australia in the late 1990s. Yet, after September 11, 2001, Mark began focusing his efforts on understanding why the 9/11 attacks occurred and wrote 3 unpublished books on the issue. In 2008, Mark joined with Tom Trento, where in 2009 he and his video team uncovered on film a terrorist fundraising network in Florida, coordinated by then Florida governor's faith-based Islamic advisor, Imam Muhammad Musri. And this eventually led to the banning of the admitted Hamas terrorist fundraiser George Galloway from the U.S. and the removal of Musri as Islamic advisor to Governor of Florida. Joining me now from Florida is J. Mark Campbell, who is as I said, the Communications Director at the United West, and their website is theunitedwest.org. And Mark, thanks very much for joining us tonight. I know you're a busy guy, so I have to ask you, here we are, we're coming up to the anniversary of 9/11 in a few days. What have you learned since that horrific day, and have you become any more enlightened on what really happened and what the reason was?
Yes, I have. First of all, thank you for having me on your show, Rob. I appreciate that.
That's my pleasure.
Yes, I have. It's when I first started on this, I was just simply trying to figure out why they attacked us. Why did they hate us? Well,
Yeah.
What did we do wrong? And that was the initial impetus of my whole investigation. I never intended to get knee deep into the whole counter-jihad movement. Never had any intention to doing any video editing. Never had any intention of doing anything I'm doing now. And it just, the more and more I looked into it, the more and more I found that it was worse than I thought. And that's when I picked up the camera and said, well, if it's that bad, then I have to go out and, capture it on film. And when I started actually going out there on the ground, looking, into the mosque, into the field, it became, worse than I thought.
Where were you on the day the Twin Towers went down?
I was in San Antonio, Texas, during doing an IT job down there. I just got back from Australia.
What were your feelings as you sat there and watched the attacks take place?
Well, I had no idea it was a terrorist attack right at first. It was completely I thought it was just a plane that hit the building. Mm-hmm. And I had no idea about Islam or anything. You could have picked up a Quran and showed it to me. I wouldn't know what it was. I was completely ignorant of everything Islamic, everything jihad related. I had no clue that it could even possibly, in the farthest reach of my mind, be a terrorist attack. I thought it was just a plane crashing.
Yeah. How did you feel when you put one and one together and got terrorist attack?
Well, like I said, that's when I started saying, well, why did we do so wrong? What was it that we did? And like most Americans, we take responsibility for our actions, and we take responsibility for what we do. And then to come to discover this other culture out there is 180 opposite of ours in pretty much every direction and every aspect, and it is very fascinating. Is this quote unquote Islamic culture, and I don't even want to call it Islamic culture. It's just a mindset, really, where you do not take responsibility for your actions. Everybody else is to blame. You're always the victim, and it's that victim mentality that permeates that whole Middle Eastern region. Is somebody else's fault. Someone made me do it, and we're just not our mindset is 180 opposite of that. Yeah. And every time you go look at something else, it becomes more and more, we're diametrically opposed in pretty much every aspect of our life.
Mark, stand by. You and I have to take our 2-minute commercial break. We'll be right back. Exo Nation. J. Mark Campbell is our special guest. He's the communications director at the United West. Their website is www.theunitedwest.org. My name is Rob McConnell. This is the X Zone. Mark and I will return in 2 minutes. Don't go away. Modern Esoteric, Beyond Our Senses by Brad Olson, consummates the lifeology story about where humanity originates. It is the lost continents, the primitive wisdom, the mythos of creation, and the rethinking of ancient history as we are taught in academia. There is much more to the story than what we have been told. As this is the first book in the Esoteric series, Modern Esoteric starts at the beginning of time and accelerates up to this modern age. Future Esoteric is book 2 in the series and takes a forward-looking position ahead of today with an open and honest examination of the ET issue and various unexplained phenomena. To discover the writings of author Brad Olson, visit www.bradolson.com. That's www.bradolson.com. Named one of the world's greatest psychics, Elizabeth Joyce is now giving readings worldwide via Skype. Elizabeth Joyce is recognized for her clairvoyant ability to help find missing persons, her analysis of dreams, past life regression work, mediumship, and her accurate predictions. Elizabeth has been a frequent guest on the X Zone radio show with yours truly, Rob McConnell, now for several years. For an appointment with Elizabeth Joyce, call 201-934-8986 or Skype at elizabeth.joyce. And for more information, you can always visit Elizabeth Joyce online at www.new-visions.com. J. Mark Campbell's my special guest this hour. TheUnitedWest.org is the website. Mark, how do you think that this entire scenario was able to go under the radar where up until September the 11th, nobody had really paid any attention to Islam, to the thought or even the possibility that we would be attacked, even though this was the second attack on the Twin Towers. It's like, okay, this was a once-in-a-lifetime thing, and nobody's going to do it again, and bang, away you go. You had two Twin Towers, you had the Pentagon, you had the plane that was taken down in Shanksville, Pennsylvania by a group of very courageous people.
Well, there's a multitude of reasons, and the more I investigated this, there was many reasons why this was, put under the radar, if you will. It's because on both sides, on the Democrat and the Republican side, from our, in our system of government, is we have a two-party system here, and the Democrats and the Republicans were both involved in bringing in Islamic money and Islamic advisors and oil wealth, and the money just corrupted both sides of our political process. And it was a concerted effort by the Muslim Brotherhood back in the 1960s to actually infiltrate our governmental system. And it just kept going. And in the 1990s, it became worse. And a man by the name of Musa Abu Mazouk, he's the deputy chief of Hamas today, was one of the primary persons setting up, a lot of these covert, if you will, groups in the United States. And they're very public in nature. There's nothing covert about them at all. Like the Council of American Islamic Relations, there's nothing covert about the group. It's just that their motives don't want to be exposed. And it's from both sides. It's from the Republicans and the Democrats, and the oil money just got involved in it all.
So how do, here we are in the year 2014, like I said, a few days away from the anniversary of 9/11. What have we learned, and how can we prevent this from happening again?
Well, unfortunately, we haven't learned that much. We're still, the vast majority of the country, I would say, is really ignorant of the insidious nature of the Muslim Brotherhood and their doctrine and their motives. I mean, just now, today, even within the last month, we're starting to see, well, this is the ideology that they're preaching and that they want to have happen. And whether it's ISIS, whether it's Iran, whether it's the Muslim Brotherhood, they all have the same thing in common, which is three things: convert, submit, or die. It's pretty simple in its execution, and it's doctrinal. It comes right from their teaching, and this is how they believe.
I understand that people have the right to believe what they want to believe for their religion. They have the right to free speech. But when it comes to the how can I best say this and trying to be politically correct at the same time? When it comes to the national security, we know that there are terrorist organizations that are planning to continue the attacks on American soil, that they are bound and determined to take over the world by hook or by crook. And when we look at the fights, the wars that have been going on between the Muslims and the Christians, this isn't the first time that this has happened in our lifetime. This has been going on for hundreds of years. So how come we haven't learned yet?
Well, let's first make a distinction here between an ideology and a person.
Okay.
When I talk about Islam, or I talk about the ideology of Islam, I'm talking that it is a corrupt system of ideology. People who call themselves Muslims, I don't think the vast majority of them have no idea what the core teachings of the ideology are, and they simply go along with the leadership. Mm-hmm. Now, with that said, is the ideology of Nazism, for example, is an abhorrent ideology. And when you look at it just on its face, where it promotes the genocide of Jews, and where it promotes the domination, the totalitarian takeover of the world, where it talks about killing people who are of another race or of another religion purely because of their religious beliefs, mm-hmm. That's barbaric. I mean, like I said, we see it today with ISIS.
Yeah,
It's It's